Hello, children of the Most High God. I would like to share with you from the book 2 Timothy chapter 2, and we're reading from verse 15. Very popular passage, especially in Adventist circles. Now, here's what the Bible reads in the King James Version. Study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Something that I noticed about this passage when I was young in my Adventist faith is the fact that so many people quoted this passage in order to help other people look at them as people who had some superior knowledge about Adventist things, or rather who had some superior knowledge about the Bible. And so oftentimes this passage was quoted by people that we used to call Davidians. I don't see many of them in church today. So when I read this passage and I understood it to mean what it meant at that time, I went on a rabbit hole to read as much as I could about the Bible, because in my mind I thought I must study in order to show myself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. However, one thing that I found out that would interest you to know is the fact that when Paul is writing 2 Timothy to Timothy, he is writing what some have come to call his last testament. Why? Because at the time that Paul is writing this, he has been incarcerated for the second time by the Romans. And at this point, he's able to surmise that he is going to die. And so before he dies, he thinks, let me leave something, a gem that people are going to hold on to, that even long after I am gone, they're able to refer to this. And so he writes the second epistle to Timothy, which is where we're reading now. And in Paul, in writing this second epistle, wants to emphasize one thing to the young man Timothy, who is pastor and in Ephesus. He wants to emphasize something that is important, something that we in our present day age need to understand. He's telling Timothy this: being a Christian is hard. Being a Christian is hard. It is not something that is easy. He likens it to a soldier who has to fight in battle. He likens it to an athlete who has to discipline himself in order for him to get to the point where he is approved. He likens it to a farmer who diligently works and toils in his field, because Paul wants Timothy to understand that being a Christian is not easy. And now when we get to 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 15, the Bible tells us, study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Now I had a problem with that at some point, because I thought to myself, is it how much I know that shows that I am approved? Is it how much I can quote the spirit of prophecy? Is it how much I can recite Bible verses that shows that I'm approved of God? And so when I went to study theology, one of the first passages I wanted to look at in the original language, which is Greek, was this passage. And when I read it, something astounding came up. The word that is translated as study is actually the Greek word espaudeson. What that word actually means, if it was correctly to be translated, is strive. And so the Bible is telling us not necessarily that studying is what makes us approved unto God, but it's saying strive to show yourself approved unto God. And this makes more sense, and it made more sense to me because I understood something. You see, the problem that Christendom has now is not one of doctrine, but one of conduct. So many people have listened to preach sermon, but what they are yet to see is a sermon lived. The problem with many Christians today is that our Christianity is very superficial. Our Christianity is one that we wear on a t-shirt or put on a bumper sticker on our cars, but it is not something that touches our hearts, because many of us are superficial, nominal Christians. Many of us are the kind of Christians who are petulant. When things don't go our way, the first thing that we think of is leaving God, abandoning our faith, because we don't truly understand why we believe in God. One priest by the name of Futon Shin said something very profound, something that I remember till this day. He said, if you do not live what you believe, you end up believing what you live. As a Christian, something that should behoove you is to constantly strive to show yourself approved unto God. And it's not what you know that matters, it's how you act. So correct your acting, correct your behavior, and everything else shall be well. I pray that this blesses your soul. Thank you for joining us.